Hey everyone! So today I am going to be doing a battle of the sponges, and this is the Beauty Blender, and this is the Blenderful from Limelight by Alcone, and I totally forgot to wet these, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I got these wet, and okay, so again, this is the Beauty Blender, which is just like the normal thing people use to put their makeup on. And this one is called the Blenderful, and it has a flat side, if you can see that, and also a pointy side. And this one just has like a pointy side and then like the bottom, so it kind of is like an egg, but eggs are obviously not so pointy. So the difference between these is this one compared to this one, like they are completely a different consistency. This one is way more squishy. This one is way more dense, but they still have the same material. So I think that the Beauty Blender would soak up more product compared to this one just because it's way more squishy. So we'll see how that goes today. So I am going to put my hair back. So my first step is I'm going to prime my face, and I'm going to use this Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water, if that's what it's called. But it is the primer water. And then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll use the Benefit Professional, which is my go-to. I use that every time I do my makeup. And yeah, so I just put it on my fingers and put it everywhere. And I am going to have to bring my mirror closer, so you probably are going to see this in the video, so I'm sorry about that. But I like to focus it around my nose area and my cheeks because I do have like a little bit of texture on my cheeks, and this helps smooth it out. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is get my foundation ready. And the foundation that I'm using today is from Limelight by Alcone, and I have used it before. I just like to keep it in the box. And that's what the packaging looks like. It's super, super cute. It's like a watercolor, like tie-dye look. And you'll see that I have used it because it's pretty messy. And that's what it looks like. And my color is Gina Beige, and with this foundation it is very dense, so I like to add an oil to it, and this is called Must Do from Limelight by Alcone. And what I do is I just try to squirt a little bit in there, but the pump kind of goes fast, so I just squirt one pump in there, and then I just take my finger and kind of just work it in there. And then once I have it worked in there, I just use my finger to apply the foundation onto the skin, and then I'll use the sponge to like put it into my skin. So this side is going to be the Blenderful sponge, and this side is going to be the Beauty Blender. So I'm just taking my finger and adding the foundation on, and this foundation, you really don't need a lot of it because it's 50% pigment, and that is really good compared to a lot of other companies, because a lot of other companies, theirs ranges from about 18 to about 23%, I believe. And so this one's 50%, so that's like a very big difference. And I'm using the flat side right now to put the foundation into my skin. And the color I'm using right now is called Gina Beige. And see, so far barely any product has gotten like soaked into it, which is really awesome. Okay, so that is the side with the blender, yeah, the blenderful on it. And now we're going to, sorry, I was looking for my tissue to wipe off my finger. So now we are going to use the Beauty Blender. So yeah, now we're just going to do the same thing, rub my finger into it, put it on my face. And the cool thing about this beauty oil that I put in, it's called Must Do. I'm pretty sure I already said that, but I mean, that's cool. The cool thing about it is that I do have oily skin, but it does not make my skin feel oily at all, which is really nice in my opinion, because the foundation is dense, so you can still use it, but it's just easier to apply with the oil in it. And I never thought I could use an oil in my foundation because I had oily skin. I was like, that makes no sense. That's just going to add oil onto my skin and make it not look good after a certain amount of time. But no, I don't have that issue with this beauty oil, which to me is great because it is all natural. Like, all this stuff right now I'm using is all natural. I don't know about like the Beauty Blender. I don't think you can make these all natural, but it, like, the foundation's all natural and the Must Do is all natural, and it's just like in a little bottle like this. So yeah. So now I'm just going to move on to like my under chin area and just blend it out. This color matches me pretty well, I believe. So I don't really need to add a lot like down my neck. With other foundations you definitely need to do that because you don't want like lines of demarcation of where your foundation is. And also, I don't know if I already mentioned this, but before I did this, I did clean both of the sponges so they were both clean so that I could have like an accurate, it can be more accurate, I don't know how to say this, it can be more accurate so I can see which one absorbed more of the foundation. And I definitely think it's the Beauty Blender. Like, if you look at the blenderful right now, you can see definitely some foundation, but it's not a lot at all. And that's the only side that I used. There is some right here, and that's just from my fingers. I did touch the foundation, and then I had to touch the sponge, so it did get on the other sides. But I didn't use it. And this is what the Beauty Blender looks like. And as you can see, it did absorb a lot of the foundation. So I was right, because I did say that I thought the Beauty Blender would absorb more because it was more squishy. So go me, I was right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my concealer, and I'm using the NARS Creamy Matte Concealer. It's the new one they just came out with. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but I know it has the word matte in it. And I'm in the color Vanilla, so I'm using that, and then I'm going to use my blenderful on this side because that's what I used on this side. So I'm going to use that to go ahead and apply the concealer, and we'll see which one works better. But to be honest, I don't think that this concealer, I think that it's better to work it in with your fingers, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure how accurate that this one will be. But for the foundation, so far I am liking the blenderful side better for just how it looks, and because it doesn't really absorb a lot of the product, which means you save a lot of the product. So that's like always a plus. You're basically saving money then. So now I'm going to go onto this eye with the Beauty Blender. Okay, so I've been trying to work the concealer in, and I don't think that it's either of the sponges. I definitely think that this side looks a lot better. It blended it out way better than the Beauty Blender. I can still see some of my dark marks under my eyes, and it doesn't even look all the way blended. So I think that the blenderful won on the concealer and the foundation, but like I said, I feel like this concealer might be good to just use your fingers to blend it in. But if you're more of a sponge type of girl, I would recommend the blenderful, and that is from Limelight by Alcone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Limelight by Alcone setting powder, and let me give you a little bit of background on the setting powder and the foundation. And I'm waiting on the concealer to come in, so that's why I don't have it today, but when I do, I'm going to do a battle of the concealers. So this is the setting powder, and it's from RCMA. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but Jaclyn Hill talks about it a lot, and a ton of other YouTubers that are bigger talks about RCMA, and it's usually in a bottle that's about like that big, and it's loose and not pressed like this one is. But this one is pressed. The foundation is made by RCMA, and like I said, it is 50% pigment as well as the concealer, but I used the NARS concealer today. I did not use the Limelight by Alcone concealer. I do not own it yet. So I'm just dipping my brush into the pressed powder to set my face, and what I'm doing is I'm kind of just tapping it all over, because you don't really want to swipe or anything because you're going to disturb your foundation. And with this powder you really don't need like a lot. I do sweep it under my eye, I will say that, but you do it very lightly if you're going to do that. And my forehead, and like I said, do it lightly. It's just my cheeks is where I definitely need the most foundation, so I'm just going to like press it into the skin. And the cool thing about this foundation is it does not soak into your pores. It kind of just sits on top of your skin, which is probably like, what? Shouldn't it soak into your pores? But no, because that's when you're going to start breaking out more, is when it does start to soak into your pores. And the foundation is made out of wax. There's only 3 ingredients in it, and wax is one of them. So if you ever like get your hands on this foundation, you'll definitely see what I mean by when I say it's made out of wax. Because before I tried it, I'm like, that doesn't sound like it's going to be a good foundation, because it sounds like it's going to be very dense and hard to blend, and I thought that myself. But then I started using it with the beauty oil, which was Must Do, and I was like, this is really good foundation. So it has come into my favorite. But I don't know why I'm talking about the foundation so much, because this video is about the sponges. So okay, so now I set my face, and I just used the Luxie foundation brush, but I like it for powder. So then I'm just going to add some blush, and let me get out my blush brush. Okay, so now I got my blush brush out, and I'm going to use this color, which is from Limelight by Alcone. I'm sorry if I'm just saying that a lot, like I know that can be pretty annoying, but I'm just going to apply that to my cheeks. And if you ever think you put too much on, you can just go with your blenderful or beauty blender and kind of press it in there. And I'm going to do that on both sides where I applied the blush. I think I went a little crazy on this side. So yeah, so now I'm done with the blush, and now I'm going to move on to mascara. And I already talked about this in my last video, so I'm not going to really talk about it a lot. It's from Limelight by Alcone, and it has extra fibers in it, so it makes your lashes a little bit longer. So that is with the mascara on. So now I'm just going to put some lipstick on. So yeah, that completes this look, I guess, even though it was not about, like, the look's not the point of the video. The sponges are, and like I said, I recommend the Blenderful more than the Beauty Blender. That's just my opinion, and I gave you reasons on why. So yeah, I hope you liked this video, and I hope you subscribe and give my video a thumbs up if you did like it, and I hope to see you back on my channel sometime soon. So thanks for watching. Bye everyone.